So there were extra redneck grebes at Point Pelee this March. I guess the weather. So thought number one, they winter on the East Coast. They migrate out west to breed. And based on high counts and observations, there seems to be a pretty interesting narrow corridor where they migrate through spring and fall. So for me, the important days to check are leading up to when they are first observed, as well as the days leading up to any local high counts. And I dive into the surface analysis archive maps. So here's the dates I pulled. Evening of March 19th, evening of March 20th, evening, midday, March 23rd. Each day has sort of an interesting takeoff weather condition. Warm air here, calm conditions here, combined with adverse weather coming across the Great Lakes. So if they're taking off, they're going to hit it before they reach the lakes. Cold front, cold front, cold front, rain squalls, snow squalls even, rain squalls, and big heavy air mass right when you take off, not to mention north winds. So my guess is that some, not a lot, but some birds were pushed off course or disoriented and ended up on Lake Erie. And sort of just to double check, I pulled some of these surface observations from Burlington, Ontario. I checked every day, but this day is a good example. A lot of kind of crummy weather, crummy winds, crummy temperatures if you're a bird migrating in the spring. High humidity, so good chance for adverse conditions, headwinds, poor visibility throughout the route that they're flying. And to sort of tie it all back into the grebes and their behavior, I found myself wondering why Point Pelee. This is another theory, but perhaps using Lake Superior as an example, these grebes are making overwater flights spring and fall once they hit the lakes. Maybe they fly over the water low to the far end of the lake in their direction of travel. Big counts at Whitefish Point in the fall. They're not visible from shore when they're way out here, but a big point sticking out brings them close enough to birders to actually be able to document the count. In the spring on Lake Ontario, no such features as they head to the west end to stage. So perhaps there's not normally redneck grebes on Lake Erie, but if there is, if some weather pushes them off course, especially multiple days of compounding weather where a few birds adds up day after day, and then they make this flight to try and hit the far end of the lake to stage, or just to make progress over the water instead of over land, offshore, 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 hitting the tip of Point Pelee, where keen birders will see them. These are all theories, but we have 2014, the last time there were extra redneck grebes on the lake to cross-reference. Here's Alan Warrington's report via Jeremy Hatt. Note that there's an interesting cluster of records, but also in 2014 we were dealing with extra ice on the Great Lakes. So I pulled my trusty weather maps, March 1st at takeoff, March 4th at takeoff. Interesting to note, especially on March 1st, really good takeoff weather, really adverse weather over the Great Lakes. Cold, squalls, north-northwest winds. 2014, based on Alan's notes especially, that while this weather might deviate some birds to Lake Erie, even birds hitting their target, if they make it up to Georgian Bay, Lake Huron, Lake Superior, and find it covered in ice, suddenly just have to make emergency flights in whatever direction the wind may carry them in order to find open water. So yeah, it's my 2 cents. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you think I'm right. Let me know if you think I'm wrong in particular, because that's more important. If you like deep dives on birds and birding like this, check out this reference website that several of us are working on. All the weather links in the presentation are on the page above. We're also trying to start a Discord server, so if you'd like an invite to that for some reason, let me know. And otherwise, I hope you have an amazing spring of watching birds.